Hello, my name is Monica and this is It's Your Voice, Use It. This is a 6-part series that is focused on overcoming fear. In today's episode, we're going to go over the first of 3 tools to overcome fear. Now, I have put together these 3 techniques that we'll explore throughout the next 3 episodes. And each of these exercises will have an example at the end so that you can see it in action. And you can pick from any of them, or you can pick all of them and test them out and see which one resonates most with you, which one you enjoy most, and which one seems to be more actionable for you. Now, if you've been following from the beginning, we have already identified and labeled a fear that we want to work on. We also looked at how that fear may have been serving you and compared what you may be missing out on and what you could be getting from simply overcoming this fear. And then we also looked at how realistic, we tested the fear. We looked at how realistic this fear was and how your mind could be creating it into making it into something bigger than it is. So, having said that, with exercise number 1, we're going to look at, it's called breaking down large fears into smaller fears. And it's also known as the fear ladder. And this is a great technique because breaking down those large fears into smaller pieces, smaller fears, makes it more manageable and palatable. And that helps make it effective so that you can also, while you're doing that, you're getting past the anxiety that can come from facing these fears. And even though you're breaking down to small pieces, you're constantly making forward motion. So it makes you feel like you are making progress, but you're not pushing yourself extremely hard and causing more stress. So first things first, we want to create a fear hierarchy by creating a list of fearful situations, writing them down, and grading them from the least anxiety inducing to the most anxiety inducing. And we can rate them from 0 to 10, 0 being no fear or little fear, to 10, which is extreme fear. Then we can organize them into situations from the lowest to the highest ranking. And then we can start tackling them. One thing that's very important is we want to make sure that this fear ladder includes things that are simple, like mild, moderate, and some that are extreme, because we are pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone. So we don't want to make it so that every single step is overly challenging, but we also don't want to make it so that we're becoming complacent, because the whole point of this is getting ourselves unstuck and moving out of that fearful stage. So by creating little steps that are varied in the grade of heaviness, you're able to kind of rotate and create a little bit of that resilience, and that, some days things are easier than others and some days they're a little challenging, but you've also had moments of a break, for lack of better words. In order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to set micro goals. So these little micro goals begin, again, with the least anxiety provoking situation, and they gradually move up to the more anxiety provoking. So when we start with the least anxiety provoking, we then go into practicing exposure. That means we're repeatedly going to repeat that activity until that activity becomes less anxiety producing for us, and we feel like it's not weighing very heavily on us. Then we're gradually going to do the same thing for the next step, then the next step, and then the next step, so we get to the very last and most challenging step. Now, keep in mind that the very bottom of this ladder could be something very simple and maybe not even related to the fear, like making small changes to your daily routine. This could be like brushing your teeth with your, non-dominant hand, taking a different way to go to work. The goal of this is getting your mind used to the idea of change and feeling comfortable with change. Then, as you start taking action, we want you to remain in that same situation and repeat it until that anxiety reduces by at least half. Don't move to the next step until you've already reached okay, I'm not too stressed about this step. I think I got this. Then you move to the next one. One thing that's going to happen, because growth is not easy. There's a little bit of growth pain involved in every movement forward. And when we're stretching ourselves, it can feel overwhelming at times. So we want to have a support system, something that we can do to help us get through each of those activities so that the effort doesn't feel overwhelming. We want to work on developing some coping strategies. And, some of those coping strategies could be like relaxation techniques, things like deep breathing, box breathing, meditation, visualizing. So this is in between stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every step you can do these. You can use these tools to help you manage your anxiety as you face each of the steps. Also, as we did previously, we want to challenge those negative thoughts. We already explored how realistic or not realistic these fears can be, and how sometimes our mind makes them so much bigger than they are. So just because we explored that doesn't mean that those thoughts are not going to come back, right? That just means that we now have the answers, because we've done the work, we've done the research. We know that it's not realistic or it's not likely to happen. So we can use that information to silence or at least reduce that noise in our head and reframe that catastrophic thinking that we have sometimes, that may be making that fear seem so much bigger than what it really is. Now, this could be something that works or works some days and some days it doesn't. So aside from these coping techniques like meditation, relaxation, all of those, challenging the negative thoughts, you also may want to have a support system built in place to help you deal with these things. In that case, you could use a friend, a family member, somebody that could hold you accountable and that can also be encouraging. So when you're feeling like giving up because fear is uncomfortable and you don't want to deal with it, this person could be your cheerleader. This person could be the one that pushes you and says, hey, you got this. I'm here for you. Come and talk to me. Let's chat about it. Let's, just vent a little and then let's keep going. If you use all these techniques, including the support of someone that you know, and you're still feeling stuck, or if that fear that you're feeling feels debilitating to a point of irrational debilitation, there is always the possibility and the ability that you have to go seek professional help. Therapists of every kind are trained to have the tools and the support that you need in order to get past irrational fears. So don't ever disregard that as an option, because that is a great option. Okay, so now that we've looked at what we can do to get ready, the next thing is tracking your progress. And tracking your progress is very important, because that'll show you on paper that you're making progress. And celebrating that progress, even if it's a very small step, it's a success that you're building into your system. So what it does is it creates a reward system in your brain. And the more that you see that you're accomplishing your goals and that you're overcoming fears little by little, the stronger that muscle becomes, and that voice that tells you that you can't do it or that tells you all the crazy fears gets quieter and quieter every time, because your confidence gets stronger. So you can use a journal, you can use you can use voice notes, anything you want to continue to record your success and your achievements, and really celebrate every victory, no matter how small it is, and keep building that confidence. Now, we're going to get to the fun stuff, right? So examples. So how are we going to break down these examples? How are we going to break down these fears? For the purposes of this example, we're going to use the public speaking. And if we're looking at public speaking, how do we then break down speaking in front of a big audience into smaller pieces? So the first thing is we're going to look at So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at speaking in front of a mirror. So you can practice speaking in front of a mirror by yourself. Memorize a speech, something that you want to talk about, that maybe that's the one thing that you would like to be a public speaker about. Memorize a small chunk of that speech and do it in front of the mirror. And do it as many times as you need to feel like that's okay. Well, this is nothing. I can do this. Is in front of the mirror, of course. Once you get into that feeling, then you move to the next one. And the next one is going to be recording yourself giving that short speech. So you do the same thing. You record yourself, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on the computer, whether it's a voice note, whether it's using Zoom or something where you can be on there by yourself. Record yourself giving that short speech. Then the next thing is you're going to present that speech to a close friend or a family member. So now we're going into the third stage, which is now you're speaking in front of somebody else, but it's somebody that you know. So it's not as scary because it's just one person and it's someone you know. Once you get past that one, once you get through that and it feels like nothing, you're going to do that in front of maybe a couple of different family members, rotate them, a couple of friends. Once you get past that one, then you're going to look for a way to speak in front of a small group. And this could be a book club or the PTA meeting or a very small group of people that maybe you know they're not like your best friends, so it's not your family or your friends, but it is somebody that you have been exposed to before, and you may feel less uncomfortable than just complete strangers. Then you're going to move on to volunteering to speak at a brief meeting, whether it's a work meeting where you volunteered to give a brief update or a presentation to the team. Then you're going to escalate to joining, you could join a public speaking group like Toastmasters, right? This is a place where people are all strangers, but they all have the same common goal, which is to become better speakers. So that will be your next step. Then the last one would be giving a short presentation to a larger audience. And then, of course, so on and so forth. If you want to speak in front of 1,000 people, then that would be your ultimate goal. But you would continue to scale and escalate your steps up to that point. Again, there's 2 more exercises that we're going to be reviewing in the next 2 videos. This is exercise number 1, and it's breaking larger fears into smaller fears, also known as the ladder of fear approach. And this is It's Your Voice, use it. And it's our fear edition. Please share with me how this is helping you, if it has helped you. If you have any comments, any questions, I would love to hear from you. My email, it's on the screen, and I am so thrilled to see how you can use these steps to get past your fear and move on to the next place and get unstuck. So I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.